All right, Christina, I'm happy to have you here. It's such an interesting conversation. But I got to ask you, what inspired you to become an expert in government contracting? It's such a unique niche, right? And how did you find this niche?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not an exciting story, I think, but it was unique to me, I would say. So I started out, I knew that I liked writing and administration. I worked in corporate America for many years, 20 plus years, and I did some work with corporate compliance, responding to different complaints. And I thrived in that. And these were all very high net worth clients that I work with. So there was definitely a certain, way that we had to go about that. And I wanted to really stay home and be with my children. So that was the first thought of something different. And I initially thought I wanted to go into grant writing because I've always been a great writer. And I just figured this was a natural transition. So I started off in grant writing, but I found out that I just did not enjoy it as much. I enjoyed it was more of a creative writing, and I preferred more of a business style writing. So, long story short, I was in touch with a great mentor that I'm still in touch with today, who thought it'd be a great fit for this. And I just, as I do with a lot of things, if it's something I'm going to jump into, I learned everything about the industry 16 years later. I've learned so much, and I've helped so many companies win multi-million dollar contracts just by it's a public knowledge type industry. So by just digging in and doing research, I was able to find a lot. And then also being participating on contracts teaches things that you wouldn't know from reading. So it's a little bit of
Yeah,
both.
that's fabulous. It's so intimidating. My business partner has several companies, and there's a lot of work to that in the government contracts, and a lot of businesses don't even want to apply for it because it's so intimidating and they think they're going to be watched over. Maybe share a story or some kind of business you've worked with and then highlight the journey of from the uncertainty to actually winning a government contract.
Yes. So I've encountered many companies, but I'm going to speak of one specifically, not by name though, that where a person has excelled in the corporate world and wanted to parlay that expertise into developing their own firm, identify government contracts, and just didn't know kind of where to begin. So yeah, there was some skepticism as far as can I qualify for these contracts? And so we just always kind of start at the beginning as far as making sure all your paperwork is in order. Think of it as like when you're applying for a home loan. There's so much paperwork. It seems daunting, and all of a sudden you've got a home at the end. I know it's not that easy, but it's similar in that way as far as there is a lot of paperwork. There is a lot of hoops to jump through, but that's why I'm there to help the client really navigate what it is they need to be certified for, where they need to be registered, who are the right customers. So that's what I help this particular client. And once they see they get those things in place, which is their infrastructure, or part of their infrastructure, the person who's really great at sales, that's the person that's going to go out and sell the business. I'm not going to sell the business, you are. And that's what this person was great at. So I put all of the pieces in place. I pointed them to the right direction, and they went out and were successful in meeting with government contractors and setting up connections, what they call for a debrief to explain their services, products, and services. And then we started the bidding process, bidding on requests for proposals. And they were bidding with agencies that were familiar with them now because they went out and did that sales piece beyond the registrations and certifications. They went out and met and with the buyers and the small business advocates, those who advocate for small business.
So, I hear there's a lot of money sitting there and people really don't know how to navigate. So, for businesses that are looking to start in government contracting, and what key elements, what would you have them focus on to position themselves for that success?
First off, make sure they've been in business for 2 years, that they have some commercial sales, meaning some B2B sales where they can show a pattern of success. And then we're going to take that and move some of those same things that they've put into place into the government space. So once their business is established, we're going to next make sure they are certified. If they're a small business and they're a minority business or a veteran-owned business or a woman-owned business, we're going to get them certified as that. And then the next, and this is the more important step, honestly, once you do those things, those are laying the framework, obviously building blocks. But the next and the most important step is to find out who's buying what you sell. So what agencies are regularly buying what you sell? If it's accounting services, who near you, agencies, local agencies, or even state agencies or federal agencies near you are buying that on a regular basis. And that's where we start to build relationships with those agency representatives, and kind of like what I just explained before, making sure you go out, meet those people, build relationships, and we start the bidding process and making sure that when we're responding, for the most part, the agencies know who we are. So first steps, again, be ready, get all your infrastructure set, your paperwork in place. That's what someone like I or another consultant can help you with. And then find out who buys what you sell and target those agencies instead of trying to target the entire market.
Good one. Yeah. So it really is. It first is sort of searching for these piles of money that are sitting there, and that's probably your expertise of knowing even where to go and look, and not just Google something, but really
Right.
that's your expertise. You have the deep dive of the map, and tactics and strategies are crucial in any field. So, what are some lesser known tactics that you found particularly effective in securing the government contracts?
I found that honestly, companies feel that it's harder than it can be. It's hard to enter as far as getting the paperwork. Yes, that's a
Right.
part. But I think the tactics that work best, or I know, are those who are really just tenacious. It's not a big secret behind a door that some think.
Right.
It's really like someone who's willing to continue with the in-person meetings, the follow-up after meeting the buyer or the advocate, and also the consistent submitting, like for example, if there's a white paper that they need to submit to the agency. So basically keeping your name at top of mind with the agencies is very important. And those who I've found who are willing to do that work are the ones that are successful, because I see a lot of companies that will do the paperwork but won't do the hard part as far as going out and just keeping this as part of your day-to-day or weekly schedule, to schedule time to either meet the buyers, attend an event, schedule a capability briefing. It has to be consistent because this is more of a long game, 12 to
Right.
18 months to get a contract for those who are persistent.
Right.
So like I said, I feel that I know that, and from what I've seen, those who have been successful have implemented this strategy versus a quick fix where they may receive a contract by applying for one bid, but as far as long-term success, it comes from building relationships, just
Right.
like it does in the private sector,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And with your background as a trainer and coach, you probably approach this uniquely and educate business owners how the intricacies and how to what resonates with them, and so you
Mhm.
actually coach and train as you're procuring and getting these contracts, right?
Right. And what I really like about government versus, let's say, commercial is that most everything is public information. So if we see that a company is doing really well, they have a lot of sales, and that comes from the research that a firm like myself or another would do, then we can follow the money per se to see how did they do that? What types of agencies that they're approaching, what types of contracts that they received, received and what particular codes, the North American Industry Classification codes or the product service codes. Those are just national codes that describe what it is you sell. What are the codes that show the purchases for what they sell? For example, if they sell accounting services, did they put that under the financial services code? Did they put that under a general consulting code? Trying to follow the money. So I think that is something that's key, that a lot of firms may start off doing that research, but it's something that's repetitive because buying patterns change. Even buyers move from place to place, and we want to continually discover who's purchasing it and when they're purchasing it, and try to continue to maintain those relationships and stay top of mind.
Right. So I bet you can share a few challenging situations that you face as a contractor yourself, and maybe share a few valuable lessons that you've learned and how you've overcome it.
Yeah. So one is when it comes to bidding, looking at the proposal, the request for proposal, and really understanding not only, for example, if they are asking for, I keep going back to this like accounting or financial services. So if they are asking for that particular thing and you say, oh yes, I provide that. But if you read the solicitation in full and find out they're looking for also someone who's local, they're looking for someone who's worked with this particular type of agency that they are. For example, if they're the prisons, I want a company that has worked in the prison system. So looking at those different layers of what the requirement is before bidding, because bidding takes a lot of time. Time is money, as we know. And so we want to make sure that we find good opportunities. So I've seen that quite a bit where companies are just like, why haven't I won? Another good tip is just to remember, again, like I said, everything is public information, or most everything. Request a copy of the winning bid. Maybe do some of that up front so that you can find out what successful bids look like, or proposals that are submitted for your particular industry, and use that as kind of to help drive when you put together a proposal so you'll be more successful.
Smart. Yeah, that's smart. Very good. And as I see it, the landscape of the government and everything really is evolving and changing. What trends or changes do you foresee in the near future, and how are the businesses going to be able to prepare for it?
Well, one major trend that's going on right now is cybersecurity. I'm
Mm,
sure, as you know, we're all more vulnerable with attacks from the outside. So the government is aware of that. They have requirements for cybersecurity that right now primarily apply to the Department of Defense, but this is going to spread to all the agencies as we all have, we're all connected all the time. So being aware of how, to get prepared, how to get your cybersecurity, for example, compliant with the NIST guidelines, which is, the agency that's coordinating that, is important, because you may want to submit a bid in response to the Department of Defense, for example, but you have not met the NIST requirements, which state that you have to have your cyber hygiene, meaning your computer is safe. You've looked at what's available and is vulnerable to attacks and things like that. So that's something that companies should look at. And I don't think as many are taking it as seriously because it's not mandatory for all agencies yet.
that's good. That's a good one. And if you were just like reviewing everything, you had one piece of advice to business owners that are aiming to increase their revenue through government contracts, what would that be?
It's going to start with something simple, which is patience and being tenacious. Don't give up. And I'm not saying that to say that you won't get a contract, fairly quickly, but those who are, and one other thing I'd like to add to that, strategy. So don't go in just thinking I'm going to become a government contract. Think, who am I going to contract with? Start with that, looking for what is either the low hanging fruit are partnerships that you can make that will help you enter easier, becoming a subcontractor. Think of what strategy you have. And then once you've built there, perhaps you can move to the next layer because now, for example, as a subcontractor, you have some past performance with the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
That you can use as your personal company past performance. Now that you've worked as a subcontractor, it's also your own company's past performance. So now you have a record of providing services to an agency, and so you can build upon that.
That's good. That's good. So here's one for you. If winning a government contract were an Olympic sport, what would be your signature move? How can a business perfect their technique in a flawless perforance?
Wow,
I
that's a
know.
good one.
Trick question there. I just thought I'd like
Yeah.
get out of the box a little bit, right?
I mean, I think of it as a marathon runner
Okay. There you go.
because, you have to have a lot of energy, right? And you have to
Yeah,
kind of retain some of that energy so you can go the long haul. And I
that's
think
good.
that's really what's going to happen with those who are successful long term. Now, I'm never saying that you can't win a contract here or there. And I've seen situations where a company has been in the right place at the right time. One example I can give you during the pandemic that had the right product and this particular agency needed it. They had the right transportation hooked up with another company, a partnership, and actually won a $23 million contract straight out the gate. However, I want to, of course, advise companies that, that's more of, the outlier, not the rule. And to always remember to just be prepared to run the marathon, stay the course.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so tell me a little bit. Is there something you're really excited about? You want to tell people about something you're working on, or yeah,
Well, I'm excited about just working with multiple companies right now that are relatively new to contracting, very successful on the commercial side, and really understand these principles. That's what gets me excited, honestly. Those who know how to execute, you know, beyond just saying, I want a government contract, but understanding the steps that it takes. And also just some very recent success proposal wins for companies, again, who were ready and who were actively pursuing new work. And we had some great wins with companies in a few industries, engineering, also in medical services. So I'm always excited about wins, and I'm always excited about helping companies that are ready. And
that,
also, I get excited about just talking to anyone who may want to, they're not quite ready, but they want to be pointed in a direction so they can get ready.
right. Tell everybody how to contact you. Give them your contact, how they could get a hold of you.
Sure, you can reach me at provinceconsulting.com. If you go on my website, right at the top, you'll see where you can book a chat. I will chat with anyone who has a quick question about any particular topic that has to do with government contracting or who wants to just know how they can get ready for contracting in the future.
Great. Okay, so lastly, leave our listeners with a golden nugget or a mantra or something that they can carry with them on their journey into the world of government contracting.
Well, I would say my mantra is always going to be strategic and be tenacious. So those are the two things that you're going to need to be successful in contracting.
Fabulous. Christina, it's been really a joy with you today, and it's really interesting. Makes me want to go get a government contract. Let's see what I can
You
do.
can.
All right. There you go. Tenacious, right? For the long
Yeah.
haul. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Well, that concludes another insightful episode of Money 911. A big thank you to Christina Jones for sharing her wealth of knowledge and experience with us today. Remember, cracking the code on government contract wins is not just about strategy, it's about mindset, dedication, and continuous learning. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and please leave us a review. Your feedback fuels our mission to provide you with the best advice and inspiration to achieve financial success. Until next time, I'm Kris Miller, signing off. Stay inspired, stay prosperous, and keep thriving on your financial journey. There's so much to learn about healthy money. I hope today's discussion brings you one step closer to securing and protecting your future. So you can get started on the right foot, go to meetwithchrismiller.com and schedule your free financial fitness strategy session. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to Money 911 so you don't miss our next episode, which includes health, wealth, and peace of mind.